The alarm bells rang through the human outpost on Kepler 442b, just as Hyunwoo Kim was finishing his morning coffee. He set down his cup and walked to the communication center, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. The red lights flashing on the main screen told him this was not a normal day. "What do we have?" he asked the communication officer. "Priority message from the Galactic Council, sir. It came in about 5 minutes ago." Hyunwoo raised an eyebrow. In the 3 years since humans had made contact with the galaxy, the Council had sent exactly 0 priority messages to Earth or any human colony. Most of the time they acted like humans did not exist at all. "Put it on screen." The hologram that appeared was of a tall, thin creature with 4 arms and skin that looked like tree bark. Hyunwoo recognized it as Coordinator Veltar, one of the Council's main speakers. The creature's voice was high and sharp like metal scraping against metal. "To the representatives of the species known as humans," Veltar began, "you are commanded to appear before the Galactic Council within 7 standard days. The charges against your species are serious. You have violated established expansion protocols. You have ignored Council authority. You have shown aggressive behavior toward peaceful species. A representative must come to Council Station to answer these charges. Failure to appear will result in economic sanctions and possible military action." The message ended. Hyunwoo stared at the blank screen for a long moment. "Sir," the communication officer asked, "get me Captain Park. Tell her to meet me in my office right away." 10 minutes later, So-Young Park walked into Hyunwoo's office. She was shorter than him but moved like a predator, all controlled power and sharp awareness. Her black hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her marine uniform was perfectly neat. She had been on Kepler 442b for 6 months, helping to set up the colony's defense systems. "You look like someone just told you the food recycler broke down," she said, sitting in the chair across from his desk. "Worse. The Galactic Council wants to put humanity on trial." Hyunwoo played the message again. So-Young watched without saying anything, but he could see her jaw get tighter as Veltar spoke. "Aggressive behavior," she said when it ended. "We have not fired a single shot at any alien species. We have not even pointed a weapon at them." "I know." "Violated expansion protocols? What protocols?" "They never told us there were any protocols. They just ignored every message we sent asking about rules and trade agreements." "I know." So-Young stood up and started pacing. "This is garbage, Hyunwoo. Pure garbage. They have been treating us like we are some kind of disease for 3 years. They refuse to trade with us. They refuse to talk to us. They refuse to even admit we exist most of the time. And now they want to put us on trial?" Hyunwoo leaned back in his chair. "What do you think we should do?" "Ignore them. Let them come here if they want to talk. We have done nothing wrong. That might work if we were dealing with humans. But we are not. We are dealing with aliens who think very differently than we do. If we ignore this summons, they might decide we really are aggressive and dangerous." So-Young stopped pacing and looked at him. "So what? Let them think what they want. There are 47 species in the Galactic Council. Some of them have weapons that could turn Earth into space dust. Do we really want to make enemies of all of them?" So-Young was quiet for a moment. Then she sighed and sat back down. "So we go?" "I think we have to. But we go on our terms." "What do you mean?" Hyunwoo pulled up a file on his computer screen. It showed information about the Council species that humans had been able to gather over the past 3 years. "Look at this. Every single Council species evolved on what they call garden worlds. Low gravity, perfect atmosphere, no predators, lots of food, stable climate. They have never had to fight for anything. Lucky them. Maybe. But look at their expansion patterns. In the last 50 years, they have only colonized 12 new worlds. 12. Do you know how many worlds humanity has colonized in the last 3 years? 37. Right. And what kind of worlds have we been colonizing?" So-Young smiled for the first time since entering the office. "The kind they call Deathworlds." "Exactly. Worlds with high gravity, dangerous weather, predators, radiation, extreme temperatures. Worlds they surveyed and decided were too dangerous to live on. And we call them challenging. Hyunwoo nodded. I think that is what this is really about. They are not scared because we are aggressive. They are scared because we are successful where they fail. So Young leaned forward. So how do we handle this? We go to their council station, just you and me. No big diplomatic team, no guards, no fancy clothes, just two humans from the world they fear most. That sounds almost like a threat. It is not a threat. It is a demonstration. So Young grinned. I like it. When do we leave? Tomorrow. I want to get there with time to spare. I have a feeling this council session is going to be more important than they realize. After So Young left, Hyunwoo sat alone in his office, looking out the window at the Kepler 442b landscape. The planet was beautiful in a deadly way. The gravity was 30% higher than Earth normal. The atmosphere had just enough oxygen for humans, but would poison most council species. The local wildlife included predators that could bite through steel. The weather changed from blazing hot to freezing cold without warning. To the Galactic Council, this world was a nightmare. To humans, it was home. Hyunwoo smiled. Tomorrow, he and So Young would walk into that council chamber, and the galaxy would finally understand what it meant to be human. They would learn that the species they feared might be exactly what they needed. The alarm bells had stopped ringing, but Hyunwoo knew the real noise was just about to begin. The ship Busan's Pride cut through space like a knife through water. Hyunwoo sat in the captain's chair, reading reports on his tablet while So Young ran combat simulations at the weapons station. The ship was not big by human military standards, but it was fast and tough, built to handle the kind of rough conditions that human colonies often faced. Computer, show me the files on council species again, Hyunwoo said. The main screen lit up with information. Pictures of aliens, descriptions of their homeworlds, notes on their culture and technology. Hyunwoo had read these files dozens of times, but he wanted to be sure he understood what they were walking into. Look at this, he said to So Young. The Sithari evolved on a world with oceans so calm they never developed a concept of storms. The Urlan come from a planet where the biggest predator was the size of a house cat. The Zeltari homeworld has such low gravity that they need machines to help them walk on normal worlds. So Young looked up from her simulation. What is your point? My point is that none of these species understand struggle. They do not know what it means to fight for survival, and we do. Every day for the last 1,000,000 years. So Young nodded and went back to her simulation. On her screen, red dots representing enemy ships tried to attack a blue dot representing their ship. The simulation was based on council weapon technology, and So Young was testing different ways to defend against it. Their weapons are not very good, she said after a few minutes. They are designed to look scary, not to actually fight. Big energy beams, lots of light and sound, but not much real damage potential. They have never needed good weapons. When you can destroy an enemy's economy or cut off their trade routes, you do not need to blow up their ships. Lucky for us, I guess. The computer made a soft chime. Incoming message, it announced in a calm female voice. Put it through, Hyunwoo said. The face that appeared on screen was human. Dr. Min-ho Lee looked tired, but his eyes were bright with excitement. Behind him, Hyunwoo could see the busy research lab where Min-ho worked on Earth. Hyunwoo, So Young, I am glad I caught you before you reached the council station. What do you have for us, Min-ho? Hyunwoo asked. Something interesting? I have been analyzing the data we collected from council trade networks over the past year. Did you know that their expansion has almost completely stopped? So Young looked up from her console. What do you mean? I mean, they are not colonizing new worlds anymore. In the last 20 years, they have only settled 4 new planets. Before that, they were settling 10 to 15 worlds every year. Hyunwoo leaned forward. Why? They are running out of suitable worlds. Every planet they look at now has some kind of problem. Too much gravity, wrong atmosphere, dangerous weather, hostile life forms. Things that would make colonization difficult, or expensive. Things that we handle every day, So Young said. Exactly, while they have been struggling to find new homes. Humanity has been thriving on worlds they consider uninhabitable. We have solved their expansion problem, and they do not even realize it. Hyunwoo felt pieces clicking together in his mind. They are not really afraid of human aggression. They are afraid of human success. More than that, Minho said. I think some of them are starting to realize that they need us, but their pride will not let them admit it. So instead of asking for help, they accuse us of being criminals, So Young said. It makes sense from their perspective, Minho continued. For thousands of years they have been the advanced species. They have the technology, the knowledge, the power. Then humans show up and start doing things they cannot do, going places they cannot go. It challenges everything they believe about themselves. Do we have any allies on the council? Hyunwoo asked. A few. The Nelki delegate has been asking questions about human colonization techniques. The Porth trade representative wants to know how we grow food on high radiation worlds. But they are too scared to speak up publicly. Scared of what? Of being associated with the dangerous Deathworlders. If they support us and we turn out to be a threat, their own species could suffer. So Young laughed, but there was no humor in it. So we are guilty until proven innocent. Pretty much, Minho said. But here is the thing. I think this council session might be our chance to change that. If you can show them that we are not their enemies, that we are actually their solution, everything could change. And if we cannot convince them? Hyunwoo asked. Minho was quiet for a moment. Then we might be looking at a very lonely future. 47 species against one is not good odds, even for humans. After the call ended, Hyunwoo and So Young sat in silence for a while. The ship's computer hummed quietly, running through its automatic checks and systems maintenance. Computer, So Young said finally, what do you think about all this? The computer was quiet for a moment. Humans had programmed their ship AIs with personality quirks, something that apparently confused other species. Busan's Pride's computer had developed a dry sense of humor over the years. I think it is ironic, the computer said in its calm voice. The galaxy's most primitive species is solving the most advanced species' biggest problem, and they want to put you on trial for it. It reminds me of the old Earth story about the farmer who killed the goose that laid golden eggs. Except we are the goose, So Young said. And they have not figured out we are laying eggs yet, Hyunwoo added. Speaking of eggs, the computer said, you might want to know that we are being followed. Both humans were instantly alert. What? So Young demanded. 3 ships, staying at the edge of sensor range. They have been following us for the past 6 hours. Council design, probably scout vessels. Are they a threat? Hyunwoo asked. Unknown. Their weapons are powered down, but they are definitely watching us. So Young was already at the tactical station, bringing up long-range sensors. I see them. Small ships, fast but not heavily armed. They are probably just making sure we actually go to the council station. Or making sure we do not try to run away, Hyunwoo said. From what? We have not done anything wrong. We exist. For some species, that seems to be crime enough. The computer chimed again. We will reach council station in 18 hours. I suggest you both get some rest. Tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day. Hyunwoo stood up and stretched. His muscles were still adjusting to the ship's artificial gravity, which was set to Earth normal. When they reached the council station, the gravity would be much lighter, designed for species that evolved on low-gravity worlds. So Young, are you nervous? She looked at him with surprise. Nervous? Why would I be nervous? We are 2 humans walking into a room full of aliens who think we are monsters. What could go wrong? Despite everything, Hyunwoo smiled. When you put it like that, it sounds almost fun. It will be, So Young said, grinning back. Trust me. The council station was huge. Hyunwoo had seen pictures, but seeing it in person was different. The station looked like a giant metal flower floating in space, with dozens of arms reaching out from a central hub. Each arm housed different species, designed to meet their specific needs for atmosphere, gravity, and temperature. Impressive, So Young said, looking at the main screen as they approached. Big, Hyunwoo agreed. But notice how it is built. Each section is separate from the others. They do not really mix even when they are trying to work together. The communication system crackled to life. Human vessel Busan's Pride. You are ordered to dock at Bay 47. You will be met by security personnel. Any deviation from approved flight path will result in immediate defensive action. So Young looked at Hyunwoo. Friendly bunch. Computer, acknowledge their instructions and take us in. As they flew closer to the station, Hyunwoo could see other ships docked at various bays. Most were sleek and elegant, looking more like pieces of art than working vessels. The human ship, with its practical design and battle-tested hull, looked rough and dangerous by comparison. 6 ships moving to escort positions, So Young reported from the tactical station. Weapons are powered but not locked on. They are being careful. They should be, Hyunwoo said quietly. The docking process took 20 minutes. Council station's computers were designed for their own ships, and the human vessel had to be guided in manually. When they finally locked into the docking, Bae Hyunwoo could see a group of figures waiting for them through the station's windows. Ready? He asked So Young. Always. They walked to the airlock together. Both wore simple human clothing, dark blue uniforms with Earth's flag on the shoulder. No weapons, no armor, no fancy diplomatic gear. Just 2 humans, exactly as they had planned. The airlock opened, and they stepped into the council station. The first thing Hyunwoo noticed was the gravity. It was about half of Earth normal, making him feel light and quick. The second thing he noticed was the group of aliens waiting for them. Coordinator Veltar stood in the center, his forearms folded across his chest. His bark-like skin was darker than it had appeared in the message, and his eyes were large and black. Behind him stood 6 other figures, each from a different species. Ambassador Kim, Captain Park, Veltar said in his high, scratchy voice. You are late. Our apologies, Hyunwoo said calmly. We came as quickly as we could. You were ordered to arrive within 7 standard days. It has been 8. So Young stepped forward slightly. We left immediately after receiving your message. If your timing calculations were wrong, that is not our fault. One of the figures behind Veltar made a hissing sound. Hyunwoo recognized it as Security Chief Gexrin, a reptilian species with green scales and yellow eyes. Gexrin was taller than the other aliens, but still shorter than either human. Your tone is inappropriate, Gexrin said. You will show proper respect. We are showing respect, So Young replied. We came when you called. We are here to answer your questions. What more do you want? Veltar raised one of his 4 hands. Enough. You will follow us to the security checkpoint. All weapons must be surrendered before you can enter the main station. We do not carry weapons, Hyunwoo said. All humans carry weapons, Gexrin said. It is in your nature. You will submit to a full security scan. So Young looked at Hyunwoo, who nodded slightly. They followed the group of aliens through a series of corridors. The station's halls were wide and tall, designed for species that were larger than humans, but the low gravity made everything feel strange and unnatural. The security checkpoint was a large room filled with scanning equipment. Dozens of aliens in security uniforms watched as Hyunwoo and So Young walked through various machines. Lights, flashed beeping sounds filled the air, and computer screens showed detailed readouts of their bodies. No artificial weapons detected, one of the technicians reported. But their bone density is extremely high. Muscle mass is far above normal. Ranges, reaction times are unusual. What does that mean? Veltar asked. The technician, a small blue creature with 6 arms, looked nervous. It means their bodies are weapons, Coordinator. Their bones are strong enough to break most materials. Their muscles can generate force levels that would damage our equipment, and they can move faster than our sensors can track. Gexrin stepped closer to So Young. Demonstrate, he demanded. Demonstrate what? So Young asked. Show us these abilities. Prove you are not hiding weapons. So Young looked around the room. Her eyes settled on a metal scanning device that looked like a thick steel bar. She walked over to it, wrapped her hands around it, and slowly bent it into a pretzel shape. The metal groaned and twisted like soft clay. The room went completely silent. This is what living on a high-gravity world does to a species, So Young said calmly, setting the twisted metal down. On Earth, I am considered average strength for a human female. One of the smaller aliens made a squeaking sound and backed away from her. Your reflexes, Gexrin said, his voice tight. Show us your reflexes. Without warning, he threw a small metal object at So Young's head. She caught it effortlessly without even looking at it directly, then tossed it back to him gently. On Earth, we have predators that move faster than your eyes can follow, she said. Humans who cannot react quickly become food for other animals. Impossible, whispered one of the technicians. No species can have natural abilities like that. Every species that survives on a death world has abilities like that, Hyunwoo said. Or they die out. Natural selection is very simple. Adapt, or become extinct. Veltar was staring at them with his large black eyes. You claim these are natural abilities? They are normal abilities, So Young corrected, for humans. But your planet, the reports say it is a Class X death world. Nothing should be able to evolve there, let alone thrive. Your reports are written by species that evolved on garden worlds, Hyunwoo said. What looks impossible, to you looks like home to us. Another alien, this one covered in purple fur, spoke up. The Council has records of your world. Extreme gravity, dangerous radiation, predatory life forms, unstable weather, toxic plant life. How does any intelligent species survive in such conditions? The same way any species survives anywhere, So Young said. You learn to be stronger than your environment, or your environment kills you. But the energy cost, the purple alien continued. Maintaining such physical capabilities must require enormous amounts of food and resources. Hyunwoo smiled. Actually, no. Humans are extremely efficient. We can survive on very little food and water compared to most species. We can function in extreme temperatures, high radiation, low oxygen environments. We are designed by evolution to be survivors. The security room had become very quiet. Hyunwoo could see the aliens looking at each other, having silent conversations with their eyes and body language. He realized they were starting to understand something that scared them. Coordinator Veltar, Gexrin said quietly. Perhaps we should escort them to the council chamber immediately. Yes, Veltar agreed, his voice tight. I think the full council needs to see this. As they walked through the station's corridors toward the main council chamber, Hyunwoo noticed how the other aliens moved. They glided or floated using mechanical assist to help them navigate even the station's light gravity. Their movements were slow and careful, nothing like the quick, confident way humans moved. They are afraid of us, So Young said quietly. They should be, Hyunwoo replied, but not for the reasons they think. The council chamber was enormous. It looked like the inside of a giant dome, with seats arranged in circles that rose up toward the ceiling. Representatives from 47 different species sat in their designated areas, each section designed for their specific needs. Some floated in tanks of liquid, others hung from the ceiling in web-like structures, and many sat in chairs that helped support their bodies in the station's gravity. At the center of the chamber was a raised platform, where Hyunwoo and So Young were directed to stand. Above them, a shimmering figure of pure energy hovered in the air. High Arbiter Zolmek, the council's leader. Representatives of the species known as humans, Zolmek's voice echoed through the chamber like wind through crystal. You stand, accused of serious crimes against galactic order. Hyunwoo looked around the chamber. Hundreds of alien eyes stared down at them. Some showed fear, others curiosity, but most showed suspicion and anger. We are here to answer your questions, Hyunwoo said calmly. You will speak only when given permission, Zolmek replied. Council Prosecutor Nixara will present the charges. A section of the floor near the platform rose up, revealing a tank of blue-green water. Inside, a creature that looked like a cross between a dolphin and an octopus swam in slow circles. When it spoke, its voice came through speakers around the chamber. High Arbiter, honored council members, Nixara began. The evidence against the human species is clear and disturbing. In just 3 years since making contact with our civilization, They have committed acts that threaten the very foundation of galactic order. Images appeared on screens around the chamber, pictures of human colonies on various worlds, ships, military installations. First, they have colonized 17 worlds classified as Class X Deathworlds without Council permission. These are worlds that our scientists determined to be uninhabitable by any intelligent species. More images flashed. Harsh landscapes, violent storms, dangerous-looking creatures. Second, they have ignored all attempts at diplomatic contact and refused to acknowledge Council authority over territorial expansion. That is not true, So Young said loudly. You will remain silent, Zolmek commanded. Any further interruptions will result in immediate removal from this chamber. Nixara continued. Third, they have demonstrated military capabilities that far exceed what should be possible for a species at their technological level. Their ships, their weapons, their soldiers, all show signs of artificial enhancement or unknown technology. A new voice spoke from the upper levels of the chamber. If I may add to the charges, High Arbiter. Hyunwoo looked up to see a large, muscular alien covered in what looked like metal plates. This was military advisor Kethron from the Urlan warrior caste. The humans have not just ignored our authority, Kethron said. They have made it irrelevant. While we debate the proper procedures for expansion, they expand. While we study the risks of colonization, they colonize. They are making the council look weak and ineffective. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Another alien stood up, a tall, thin creature with silver skin and 3 eyes. I have reviewed the data on human colonies, it said. The worlds they inhabit should kill them within days. The radiation levels alone would destroy the DNA of any known species. Yet they not only survive, they thrive. This is impossible without genetic modification or advanced technology they are hiding from us. The medical evidence supports this, added a floating jellyfish-like creature. Humans show physical capabilities that violate known biological laws. Bone density higher than most metals, muscle efficiency beyond theoretical maximums, sensory, perception that exceeds our best instruments. They are either artificial beings or they possess technology that makes them superhumans. Perhaps, said another voice, they are not from this galaxy at all. Perhaps they are scouts for an invasion, force from beyond our space. The chamber erupted in worried chatter. Hyunwoo could hear dozens of different languages as the aliens discussed this possibility among themselves. Order, Zolmek called. We will have order. The chamber slowly grew quiet again. There is another possibility, said a small, furry creature from one of the lower sections. Perhaps they are weapons, biological weapons created by some extinct species and left to activate when the galaxy reached a certain level of development. That would explain their aggressive expansion, agreed Kethron, and their refusal to submit to council authority. It would also explain why they seek out the most dangerous worlds, added Nixara. They are not trying to build a civilization. They are trying to build military bases in locations where we cannot follow. So Young's hands had clenched into fists. Hyunwoo could see her jaw working as she fought to stay silent. He put a gentle hand on her arm, reminding her to wait. The evidence is clear, Nixara continued. Humans represent a threat to galactic civilization that we have never faced before. They are either artificial beings, enhanced super soldiers, or advanced scouts for an unknown enemy. In any case, they cannot be allowed to continue their expansion. Unchecked. What do you recommend? Zolmek asked. Immediate quarantine of all human colonies. Complete economic isolation until they agree to submit to council oversight and reveal the source of their enhanced abilities. If they refuse, we may need to consider military action to protect the galaxy. The chamber was filled with approving sounds from many of the species. Hyunwoo could see that most of the council members agreed with the prosecutor's assessment. Very well, Zolmek said. Before we vote on these measures, the accused will be allowed to respond to the charges. Human Ambassador Kim, you may speak. Hyunwoo stepped forward. The chamber fell completely silent. Hundreds of alien eyes focused on him. He looked around slowly, taking in the fear and suspicion on the faces surrounding him. Honored members of the Galactic Council, he began, his voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. "I have listened to your charges and your theories about humanity. You have accused us of being artificial beings, super soldiers, weapons, and alien invaders." He paused, letting his words sink in. "You have considered every possibility except one. The one possibility that frightens you more than all the others." "And what is that?" Zolmek asked. "That we are exactly what we appear to be, natural beings who evolved on a natural world, and that everything you believe about life and evolution and survival is wrong." The chamber erupted in angry sounds. Several aliens shouted objections, and Hyunwoo could see Security Chief Gexren moving closer to the platform. "You claim our world is uninhabitable," Hyunwoo continued, raising his voice above the noise. "You call it a Class X death world. But, let me ask you a question." He looked around the chamber again. "What do you know about natural selection?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Hyunwoo waited, watching the faces of the council members. Most looked confused. A few looked annoyed. None looked like they understood what he was asking. "Natural selection," Hyunwoo repeated. "The process by which species adapt to their environment over millions of years. The weak die out, the strong survive and reproduce. Each generation becomes better suited to handle whatever challenges their world presents. We know what natural selection is," said the three-eyed alien with silver skin. "It is a primitive process that occurs on undeveloped worlds." "Primitive?" Hyunwoo asked. "Then let me tell you about Earth's natural selection. Let me tell you what it takes to evolve on a death world." He began to walk slowly around the platform, his movements easy and confident in the low gravity. 2 million years ago, our ancestors faced their first great test: climate change. Ice ages that lasted thousands of years, followed by periods of extreme heat. Most species died out. The ones that survived learned to adapt quickly to changing conditions. So Young stepped forward to join him. 1 million years ago, supervolcanoes covered our planet in ash and toxic gases. The sky went dark for years. Most of the remaining life on Earth died, but our ancestors learned to survive on very little food, in very poor conditions. 500,000 years ago, Hyunwoo continued, our species faced predators that were faster, stronger, and more dangerous than anything you can imagine. Giant cats with teeth like knives. Bears that weighed as much as your shuttlecraft. Humans learned to work together, to think ahead, to outsmart enemies that could kill them with a single blow. But surely, interrupted the purple-furred alien, such conditions would prevent the development of intelligence and technology. So Young smiled, and several aliens in the chamber moved back slightly at the sight of it. Actually, the opposite is true. When survival is difficult, intelligence becomes the most important tool. Humans developed advanced problem-solving abilities because stupid humans died young. She walked to the edge of the platform and looked up at the council members. Would you like me to demonstrate human physical capabilities? Not the enhanced abilities you think we have, but normal human abilities? Without waiting for an answer, she crouched down and then jumped straight up. In the station's low gravity, she sailed 3 meters into the air, easily reaching the level of the first ring of seats. Several aliens scrambled away from her as she landed lightly on the platform. On Earth, that jump would take me 1 meter high. Here, with your weak gravity, I can reach the ceiling if I want to. Impossible, breathed the jellyfish-like medical expert. No biological creature can generate that much force. Any human can do that, So Young said. Children, elderly people, anyone, because we evolved in gravity 3 times stronger than what you consider normal. Hyunwoo had stopped walking and was now looking directly at High Arbiter Zolmek. You asked about our expansion, he said. You want to know why we colonize worlds you consider uninhabitable. The answer is simple. We colonize those worlds because they remind us of home. He gestured to the screens around the chamber, which still showed images of human colonies. That world with the acid rain and metal-eating bacteria, we call it challenging. That planet with gravity so strong it would crush your ships, we call it a bit heavy. That system with radiation levels that would cook your DNA in minutes, we call it a little warm. But the energy requirements, the medical expert protested, are minimal, Hyunwoo finished. Humans are incredibly efficient, We can survive for weeks without food, days without water, hours without air. We can function in temperatures that would freeze or boil most of your species. We can heal from injuries that would be fatal to others. Nixara's voice came through the speakers, high and tight with disbelief. You expect us to believe that these are natural abilities? That evolution alone created such capabilities? I expect you to believe the evidence, So Young said. But here is what I think really bothers you. It is not that we are too strong or too fast or too tough. It is that we make it look easy. She was right, and Hyunwoo could see it in the faces around the chamber. These species had spent thousands of years building technology to overcome the challenges that humans handled naturally. You have machines to help you move in gravity, Hyunwoo said. We have muscles. You have environmental suits to protect you from radiation. We have skin. You have life support systems to help you breathe in different atmospheres. We have lungs that adapt. This is ridiculous, Kethron interrupted. You claim to be a natural species, but you demonstrate abilities that exceed our best technology. If you are natural, then what does that make us? The question hung in the air, and Hyunwoo realized that Kethron had identified the real problem. It was not about human expansion or human aggression. It was about what human success meant for the rest of the galaxy. It makes you what you have always been, Hyunwoo said gently. Intelligent species that evolved on worlds that did not challenge you. There is nothing wrong with that. But there is also nothing wrong with being a species that evolved on a world that challenged us every day. But your expansion, Veltar began. Our expansion is not a threat to you, So Young said. Look at the worlds we have colonized. Look at them carefully. She gestured to the screens, and the images changed to show detailed surveys of human colonies. Every single world we have settled was surveyed and rejected by Council species. Worlds you deemed too dangerous, too expensive, too difficult to colonize. We are not taking anything you wanted. We are taking the things you threw away. The chamber was completely silent now. Hyunwoo could see understanding beginning to dawn on some faces. For the past 20 years, he said, Council expansion has slowed to almost nothing. You survey new worlds, but they all have problems that make colonization difficult. Too much radiation, wrong gravity, hostile environment. You have been running out of places to grow. Meanwhile, So Young added, humanity has been turning your impossible worlds into thriving colonies. We have been solving your expansion problem without even realizing it. What are you saying? Zolmek asked, his energy form flickering with what might have been confusion. We are saying that we are not your enemies, Hyunwoo replied. We are your solution. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of as many council members as he could. You have spent 3 years afraid of us because we succeed where you fail. But what if instead of fearing our success, you learned from it? What if we worked together? Together? Nixara's voice was skeptical. What could you possibly offer us? Colonization techniques for worlds you consider uninhabitable. Technology adapted for high-stress environments. Methods for surviving in conditions that would kill most species. So Young nodded. In exchange, you could offer us the knowledge and technology that 47 advanced species have developed over thousands of years. We could explore and settle the galaxy together, Hyunwoo said. Humans handling the difficult worlds, Council species developing the easier ones. Everyone benefits. The chamber was so quiet that Hyunwoo could hear the hum of the station's life support systems. He watched as the council members looked at each other, having silent conversations, reconsidering everything they thought they knew. Finally, High Arbiter Zolmek spoke. You came here today expecting to be put on trial, he said. Instead, you have put us on trial. You have forced us to examine our own limitations and fears. That was not our intention, Hyunwoo said. We just wanted to show you who we really are. And who are you, Ambassador Kim? Hyunwoo stood straighter, and beside him So Young did the same. We are humans. We are the species that learned to thrive where others would perish. We are the people who turned Deathworlds into homes. And we would like to be your partners in making the galaxy a better place for everyone. For a long moment, Nobody spoke. Then from the upper levels of the chamber came the sound of slow applause. One alien was clapping, then another, then more. Within minutes, the entire chamber was filled with the sounds of approval from dozens of different species. High Arbiter Zolmek's energy form brightened. "I believe," he said, "we have much to discuss."